And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Terra Invicta as the Initiative on patch 1.0.29. This was a run started on release candidate 6.
Your orders?
And we're coming close to the end of here at this point. Let's get you public campaigning the Republic of China.
Making our case.
Confirm assignment, let time pass.
Offering support.
From a project standpoint, we've got all the ones we need, so I'm literally just researching whatever as we're waiting for time to pass. Researching all the projects at this point, just because we can. And then a lot of what's going on right now is transit. Waiting on the 3rd fleet to arrive at Neptune so we can have it burn out towards the Oort cloud. We got Atomic Strike maneuvering towards the last alien base, I think in the asteroid belt. And waiting for new ships to build, old ships to deploy, the old stuff, basically. Future tech materials here for some more exotics.
Things are stabilizing.
Order is returning.
Things are stabilizing.
The people will come to our side.
Oh, another megaphone under our control. We'll just deploy you through the alien administration.
We've moved the needle.
Okay, so this is one of the damaged fleets. At some point, we'll probably maneuver that someplace to get replacements. At the moment, I don't quite have the exotics to do its replacements. Although I suppose let's go ahead and start maneuvering it to get where it's going to probably get replaced at. So it's probably going to get replacements at Saturn. We've got a shipyard, I think, at Saturn. Or is it Neptune? Yeah, I think it's the station. Ivan, I think, has our construction facility. You can build a whole fleet at a time, so we'll just be building 8 ships instead of
We'll be ready for new orders soon.
the full 10. That's easy enough to do. Okay. Another megaphone under our control. Okay, we'll just tell you to, wander off somewhere it's not going to hurt us, also known as the Alien Administration. Yeah, we'll just accept the alliance. We'll have to say no to all their declarations of war, but stops them spamming us with asking us to become allies. Let's confirm assignments. Let time pass. Oh, I can probably The next council action, I can merge Bhutan into India.
Offering assistance.
With the democracy score collapse in India at one point and didn't have it high enough to do the merger for quite a while. Okay, Fleet 481 has arrived at Himko Station. To go resupply. I'll have the 6 ships join up with you.
Order is returning.
There we go. So in theory, you're ready to start flying. In fact, based off of that, let's actually head out to the Oort Cloud. Let's... So the orbital's this way. Probably... Pluto. Well, distance of the Oort Cloud are pretty large. Trying to decide which close object do I want to go to in the Oort Cloud. Just to put a place near the alien base. Thinking Marduk. These space actually going to select Marduk. Select the fleet. Transfer to Low Monarch. We'll arrive in 69 weeks. Sure.
Things are cooling off.
We are winning their hearts and minds.
Order is returning.
The people will come to our side.
Tensions rising between China and Chile. We don't need to lower anyone else's GDP. We got 88% of the GDP already. Atomic strike has arrived. That honestly arrived quicker than I was expecting it to. There's a ground site here, is there? Yeah. I don't need to deny the aliens their water and volatiles. We are going to engage the station, however. Orbital. Engage, and this is an auto resolve. I'm not going to command 101 ships. Yeah, I think our ships shot a few more torpedoes than they needed to. Just a few more torpedoes than they needed to. They dumped, that was 300. That was 3,000 shaped nuclear torpedoes in the target. Yeah. Okay. Station is, as you might imagine, quite disabled. Okay, that station's gone. We should probably go to one of the nearby stations for refuel. Or, actually, less so refuel, more so, we're out of ammo. They bag dumped the target. Not one of the places we do have a station there. Probably means I can refuel at that station. Look at there in just under 7 weeks. Off you go.
Cleaning things up.
Predictor fails the purge, which is good. Okay. What's the stability state in US of A? Probably best solved first by public campaigning there.
Making our case.
And then your saving for rich is 144, wealthy is 80, famous is 40. You're actually still picking up stats, so I should pick up some espionage. You're picking up science. And you don't have much to pick anything up. There we go. Confirm assignments, let time pass. They put another station there. Although, at this point, it's a completely dysfunctional
Lending
station.
my expertise.
Things are cooling off.
Order is returning.
We have moved the needle.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Nope. Beneath the waves. Bit of a shame. Inequality goes up by 2, which is bad. Oh, just finished researching the Poseidon Torch. That's the Polynesian states. Not the Melanesian states, which is here. So now you're gonna probably want some welfare. Although, you're not too desperate for it. We probably do want a bit there. Get moving in the better direction. Okay. Some time pass. Ships maneuver. We're in August.
What's the op?
Says you should lower the unrest in the Melanesian states. Assign one of you to quickly stabilize them. Oh, they haven't gained any unrest yet, never mind. So, lower unrest in the US of
We'll
A.
make things safe.
Let's go ahead and
Ready for
assign
orders.
someone to advise the EU.
Offering
Either that or
assistance.
start hunting down the next servant to turn.
Offering support.
I will help them.
Okay. Surprised the government hasn't disappeared because government's apparently at 10, but it's probably some weird rounding where it's not quite 10 or something. Atomic fleet completes transfer. We'll begin repairs. Refuel.
Violence is abating.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
United Turkestan. Most of these don't really matter. They're unifications for nations that don't exist unless we freed them. So I'm just better off doing all the fusion drives, or all the drives. Just make the tree small at this point. Now, mineral region. That'll help the GDP growth there. Atomic strike has repaired and refueled. Might actually send them back to Minerva, because we know the aliens rebuilt the orbital there. They've arrived at low Earth orbit. Continue. And our arrival at low Earth orbit should also be happening. There we go. We got 10 ships versus 41 ships. Time for battle. Drift in slow. Looks like we're facing mostly capital ships in this first wave. It's a couple frigates. Back to base, the fact there's a couple frigates. Let's start off by targeting them. Let time flow until the enemy deploys their flankers. It looks like they'll be coming in, well, they'll probably be in 3 or 4 waves, because they'll probably come in about 10 or 11 at a time. After we build the first 10 up out of the first 20. Yeah, this is basically a 10v41 fight, which will probably come off better than they will. We have reinforcements we could, well, not able to bring into this battle, but if we do lose the battle, we have more ships in Earth orbit that we could very rapidly deploy down here to prevent them from doing a landing. This is a assault carrier escort group coming in here. So the assault carriers are actually in the reinforcements. There we go. Assault carrier, Sacred Grave. So this is the 40 ships escorting the one assault carrier because of how harsh the landing is, let's say, for the alien forces. They know they need to come prepared, otherwise they're not landing. Okay, aliens beginning to do maneuver. Let's target that one for shooting the guys doing the first batch of maneuvering. The ships that are maneuvering, as you can see, have to turn to point their engines in the right direction, exposing usually the side armor. Side armor on alien ships is usually far inferior to the frontal, so our laser ships in the early long-range engagement can actually blow those up, even on the size of like battleships, pretty easily. Which is why we're focusing the flankers first here. I think that's enough damage on that one. Let's redirect to a different one. Oh, prevented that one dead in the void. Swap to a different one. Might have been a lucky shot, hit the bridge. Okay, that one's showing signs that it's lost maneuverability. Swap that one. Dead in the void. Looks like we got one flanker that isn't flying a straight line. Get them disabled and turn to face the main battle line. Looking at Twitch chat, there we go again. But why I feel what you limit battleships per round is wave shooting. So technically I'm not limiting them. It's a game mechanics that's limiting them. Looks like we haven't lost a ship. Because that's not a setting that I've set that sets the fleet deployment to 30. It's actually a default game setting. Oh, we did lose a ship. Down to 9. But it's also one that's done for... how's the best way to describe it? Done because of... computational requirements for these battles. Oh, we lost the ship. Number of enemy ships. Haven't necessarily limited the number of enemy ships. Because they're going to get the reinforcements. They're going to get their full 41 ships. But yeah, the whole 30 ships maximum, I get 10, they get 20, is very much game mechanics driven. It's not, or not game mechanics driven, it's set by the game, and it's set for graphical reasons. And it's not a setting that I've set, it's a setting that the game sets by default. Okay, that one's dead in the void. So that one's dead in the void. Swap to a different one. Looks like it's dead in the void. Okay, reduce the number of kinetics coming in. Okay, looks like the heavy damage here on the enemy fleet has disabled most of their weapons at this point. Here's another one exploding. Let's try to bring some of the lasers offline if we can. Twitch chat saying, I know the maximum battle size is 45 versus 45. I think that's the maximum you can do with the sliders in the settings menu. If you know how to do XML modifying of the numbers, you can I think it's XML that the settings file is in. You can manually set that to basically any number you want if you know what you're doing. But yeah, you definitely need better CPU and or GPU for these bigger battles if you wanted to run bigger battles. That's why I'm not playing around with the settings, honestly, as far as fleet size goes. And to be fair, if we change the fleet settings, game mechanics-wise, I'd change how... Well, I wouldn't exactly necessarily change how I build my fleet. I'd change how big my fleets are. So I'd do 10 ships because it's the minimum you're guaranteed to get in a fight. If you, say, doubled the battle size and you made it, like 60, right, then you'd probably want to do doubling the minimum as well. You want to guarantee that you have 20, and then I'd bring 20 ships. It's probably the best way to think about it. The aliens wouldn't actually bring any more ships in that situation, so they'd have 130, and it'd be against 20 of my ships. Right. So in many ways, I'm doing this sort of extreme odds differences because I know I'm going to get 10 ships. I'd probably run a bit more of a fair fight in hull count if I knew the aliens were gonna, or I was gonna get more ships. But with them having, like, this isn't a major example, but in some of the bigger fights, they're bringing in 130 ships, for example. Believe it, on normal game settings, they get 20 of those at a time. You get 10. If you were to double that, right, you'd say, oh, you get 20 and they get 40. Well, they're not going to bring more than 130. They're not going to change their strategy up. But I'd change mine up. I'd bring another 10 if I was guaranteed another 10. At this point, they're actually coming up from behind us, because we actually moved enough that their deployment was behind our deployment. Yeah, probably time to turn to face the flankers. And we'll work on them instead of the remaining cavalry ships from the first wave. But yeah, for example, I'm not running the newest of computers. I'm running a computer made back during COVID, to give you an idea of how old the computer is. So the game runs pretty well on even fairly old hardware. But it definitely would struggle if you turn the fleets up by a bunch. Which is one of the reasons I think the manual sliders in the game limits it to 40v40. So 90 ship max. But yeah, you know how to modify the setting files. The settings file don't actually lock you hard at 45. You could shove whatever number you want in there. In theory, you could run it up to like 200v200 or something, and the file would let you. And the game wouldn't appreciate it, but the game would probably let you too. Although the aliens, again, don't change the strategy, so they bring their X number of ships, because their fleet size is not based on what they can bring. It's based on what they have available and the size of what they think they're going to be facing. Okay, every last alien ship is deployed. The biggest thing they've got here is actually the assault carrier at this point. Yeah, this Twitch chat says it's definitely much harder if the game mechanic allow unlimited versus unlimited. I don't know if no one would want to play because you're not necessarily too weak from the beginning. In much a way I'm playing, it's attritional fighting versus the aliens. In fact, a lot of the more skilled veteran players in the game fight in sort of an attritional manner, where you know you can outbuild the aliens if you know what you're doing. The aliens have I think they have a mining limit. So they only build so many mines at a given time. So if you're very aggressive, you can definitely outmine the aliens. And then if you're outmining the aliens, then you can just put out more tonnage of ship. Yeah, your ship is going to be worse, but you can play it. That's not an unsurmountable obstacle. It would definitely be a very different style of the game, especially if the aliens were very aggressive from the beginning. Right, so one of the things the aliens have sort of by default is the aliens are actually pretty passive early on until you hit Total War. And even some degree, well, usually once you hit Total War, you've got enough fleet size, they're leaving your main fleets alone. They're trying to hit things like land, earth, and stuff, instead of really trying to be a particular problem for your stuff. Because when the aliens come in to get you, they usually bring enough ships that they think they're going to win the fight. Which is one reason why, even though we're at Total War, I'm not really getting attacked. Like, this is a fight, but this is a fight that I started. I brought my fleet to engage their fleet landing on Earth. They didn't start this fight. And this has to do with the fact that I've just attrited them enough that they don't have the ability to get a fleet they think can comfortably handle my fleet. Okay, there's the assault carrier, which is the one we're here for. Violet laser battery, mostly point defense. It would have needed to come in early to be a particular threat to the fleet. Yeah, well, that I think you could still do that, but that would definitely be very unbeginner friendly. So Twitch chat's bringing up, what if the aliens wanted to destroy all military bases and spaceship factories from the beginning? And the answer to that is, I think that you could play around that. There's definitely ways you could do that. But it would be very, very new player unfriendly. Because the aliens obviously have, at the beginning, have like naval superiority in space. Right? They have space superiority. It doesn't take very much for you to wrestle it away from them. But because of how long the build time is on the ships and stuff like that, it'd be hard to do. It was like, I think on Reddit, I think there was a discussion about, could you win the game using just boost? The answer from, I think, universally from Twitch chat, or not Twitter, from Reddit was yes, but it would be very, very tedious and very, very long, and not particularly fun, because you'd be waiting to build up a bunch of boost on Earth. Because obviously getting space resources from Earth is inefficient. It's doable, but it's inefficient. Okay, so this fleet has survived the battle, won the battle. Do a share propellant deployment. We've got some capacity to maneuver. Did we get every last alien? I think that's the residual from the fleet that we just fought. A couple of residuals from the fleet here. I think we'll engage what's left. Actually, no, I should detach the... Or not share propellant. I should detach the one with the terrible engine. One of the ships got hit up enough that its engine is pretty wrecked. You. Go to port. Go to the closest port. The rest of you. Chase the aliens down. Okay, so here we're going to do an engage. Start battle. And yeah, I think these are the survivors from the last battle. All the heavy ships that I think we didn't necessarily kill many of the flankers. We disabled a bunch of the flankers. So I think they just kept flying, right? They just flew off. Once they hit the 2,000-kilometer range, they disengaged. So I think this is the 7 ships that survived. Or these might be from a different fight. Left over from Earth insertion. I think this was the ones we just fought. Yeah, we're gonna jump these guys, get them destroyed. I think there's one other ship in low Earth orbit that we'll get rid of as well. And then we'll get this fleet getting its replacements built. And the fleet will be ready for offensive actions in 185 days. Give or take a couple flight days. And then Twitch chat once again is going, I feel the alien is too kind to humans in Earth now because they even allow humans to build spaceships. It's complicated. To be fair, the aliens aren't... They're definitely not humanity first. That's a good way to think about it. The aliens aren't out to kill us. They're just ultra paranoid. If you listen to the flavor text on the aliens, Hydra, which is... I think it's Hydra, whatever the unifying force behind the aliens is their group of people who have decided what they're doing. Obviously. They're the survivors from their planet being... I think it's interplanetary like relativistic missile bombardment from one of the alien civs. So they're paranoid about other aliens trying to kill them all. Right? They're coming to screw with humanity not because they want to kill us all. They're screwing with us because the expectation they've learned is if they don't come and enslave us, that we may respond incredibly violently. Which, if you've seen the Humanity First end result, is a possibility, let's say. They're not doing it out of complete misunderstanding, but they're also not here to kill us. And their victory condition is not kill us. In theory, they have the weapons that if they really wanted to just wreck planet Earth, they could do it. And in fact, they could probably do it without coming to planet Earth, right? So there's from the beginning, they could have fully occupied Earth in the beginning. Occupation, probably not, because they don't have the people. But render it a death world, do Exterminatus if they want to do that. Yeah, they probably have Exterminatus level weapons at the beginning of the game. And in fact, they could probably do that without getting noticed. They just dump an asteroid on us from orbit or something, right? Or, well, they enslaved the people who did the interplanetary ballistic missile. So, in theory, they have that tech. If they wanted to just drop something that's going to destroy most of Earth, they can do that. So something to note is, and this is maybe something that's hard to notice, is the aliens, the tech they're using to get into the solar system is the wormhole. In theory, it's not that big, right? All the exotics are coming through the wormhole. In fact, that's most of where the exotics are coming from. It's through the wormhole. They actually don't have much capacity to do their big fancy stuff. That doesn't mean they're incapable of doing anything. They're quite potentially dangerous, but they can't rule Earth without a willing Earth, if that makes sense. Which is the servant's goal or the protector goal is how you think about it. Right? They need one of those two people to win, and probably they could take more proactive steps to doing that at the beginning. But also at the beginning, they don't speak English. Right? That's a different way to think about it. At the beginning, they don't speak our language. They don't know what level of support they really have, what they can do. All they know is they can win at space battles. And they're not even sure they can do that at the beginning, is another way to think about it as well. They think they can do that, and to a greater lesser extent they can, but they're not sure they can. In many ways, as the player, we have better understanding of the aliens than the aliens do of us. Okay. So I should be building the replacements for that fleet. So we had... all the PD survived. Okay. So 2 laser plasma, and sort of by extrapolation, the other survivor is a laser plasma. Yeah. So 7 ships survived, 3 laser plasmas were destroyed. Looking at my mission control, it's probably time to expand the mission control some more. Let's go jump over Mercury. I'm up to... low and medium are full. We got 6 empty slots in high. Let's put 6 halves in high. And each of these halves are going to do a quick MC build. And this initially is going to cost us 4 MC per Mercury hab, but in the long run will provide an extra 6 per hab. Net 6 per hab. I'm not sure if I agree with that. The Chinese Communist Party is not that level of centralized mind control, let's say. Okay, let's pop in over some of the old halves we've got at Mercury. theory, want to do the ones that don't have any influence. So I've got a bunch of old habs here that we've built for the mission control. Let's pop through all of them. And I'm quickly in their vacant space going to build a bunch of quarters. This basically converts a little bit of water and a little bit of volatiles into money and influence. So we're just going to fill up empty space here to make a little bit of money, a lot of influence. Oops. Start smashing some military labs in there. That's not quite what we want. Not what we want. There we go. Now we smash that one, but... Okay, don't need more research, need more money and influence. Oh, I suppose I can fill these empty spots on the ground here as well. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, will provide us with more influence,
Standing
more
by for
money,
orders.
and more mission control. At the cost of just a little bit of micro there that we did.
I will help them.
Just got the achievement for hitting 50,000 people in space. Guess this was the first time we got quite that
Offering
many people in
support.
space. Previous Resistance run didn't need quite as much space infrastructure as this run did. Although the previous one we were running inertial confinement fusion, this time we're running antimatter. So we've got the whole antimatter production facility at Mercury.
Things are stabilizing.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Oh, well, and I
We've
think
moved the
the
needle.
previous one for Resistance was before they nerfed, the most recent nerf to Mars. So there's more resources coming from Mars as well. So there's all those abs come on the line, so we should be getting the new influence pretty quickly. Political unity. Probably invest in knowledge. Here we go. Here's our new fleet building at Mercury. So this is just finished. Another new fleet for Mercury. Twitch chat saying, can you imagine the government allow the dark side departments to harvest people's organs all the time? Yes, it's usually referred to as corruption, usually, when that happens. Had a family member walk into the room, so I was chatting to them there for a moment. Have these guys drop by Minerva just so we can make sure that it stays not controlled by the aliens. Save a little bit of fuel on the burnout there.
At your service.
Okay. You stabilize the EU.
We'll make things safe.
Let's confirm assignments. Let time pass.
Offering counsel.
Initiative Fleet Atomic Strike has arrived at Minerva. Okay. We can go ahead and destroy the HAB because it hasn't got any defensive platforms back up again. There we go. And then let's not dump every last atomic weapon we have into the position below. So we're going to break off to try a low-level bombardment with the 2. Okay, didn't
Things
work.
are cooling off.
Huh. I haven't tried to do ground bombardment before with atomic-shaped
Violence
warheads.
is abating.
Don't know how effective it is. Okay, let's try breaking off a few more. Trying a bigger strike.
People will come to our side.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
We are winning their hearts and minds.
There we go. So we lost some ships doing that, but these are just monitors armed with torpedoes. Base destroyed. There we go. Okay, and we will need to get the colony ship out here to repair these ships. I don't think the damaged ones are going to be able to make it to another major orbit. And we do know that there's aliens inbound. Theory. So I'm trying to find the, this I'm trying to burn too. You know, we'll just do that. That'll work. 5 weeks for the colony ship together. Okay, we're gonna select you. You're gonna burn up to intermediate Earth orbit where we've got the fleet that you're from. Join 674. There we go. Now 674 is just waiting for its 3 missing ships. probably start heading out to the Orc Cloud itself. Augments here, XP 144 for rich. We're not doing that yet. Wealthy's 80. Wealthy, actually no, you're gonna pick up famous. You could put affluent, but we're still doing espionage. You're still in science. You should pick up your last persuasion. There we go. Confirm assignments, let some time pass. Oh, I need it.
What's the
Order
up?
out. Let's do some public campaigning.
Making our case.
Lending my expertise.
Waiting for our ships
Order
to do
is
stuff.
returning.
Distant rest, the United States and North America. Okay.
We've moved
Good.
the needle.
We are winning their hearts and minds.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
We have moved the needle.
Okay, starting to get the cohesion numbers to where we want in the United States and the EU. Boring plasma jet has been researched. Twitch, I was asking, wondering how to seize resources from other factions. What sort of resources are you talking about? Here on Earth, it's usually mostly purge missions that you use. It depends on which faction you're playing. Sometimes it's easier to do crackdown than purge, or increase in rest until prompt this revolt, whatever. But usually it's purge. Up in space, you can get Marines and use that to seize assets. When you're fighting the aliens, you always just have the aliens, or you almost always blow the stuff up. So I'm not seizing it, I'm blowing it up and then building new stuff in its place, usually. So here we want a space dock and a PDA. And then we detach the colony ship from the fleet. Don't think the colony ship's gonna have enough fuel, although the colony ship might have enough fuel to get to the next refueling place. I just have to wait. Ares is probably the closest. Oh, we could do that. 16, 17 weeks. Yeah, do that. Gets us out of the danger zone as well, because we know we have a couple alien fleets on the way out to Minerva. Well, I say on the way out. Probably on the way in. They're going to Procane. Okay. Oh, I guess the aliens have a base at Procane as well. And you're on the way to Minerva. 42 ships on the way to Minerva. So we've got ours on the way out to Marduk. And we have these guys on the way at Naiad parking. When they get there, they'll refuel and they'll probably send out to Marduk as well. So you, one of the ship modules you can get in the game is a marine module. which allows you to do assault habs, to take habs over. So it starts off the Marine Assault Unit, upgrades the Advanced Machine Assault Unit, Fleet is the final normal tier, and then I think the Resistance in one of the other factions, I think, gets... for the Resistance, it's called Resistance Rangers. I think one of the extra other factions get a Resistance Ranger-like upgrade as well. It gets insult value of 10. That's usually how you take stuff. And that's how you take over orbital infrastructure. So outposts and bases. Usually you can't take their resources. You can take their source of resources by taking over countries or taking over habs in space. But you don't take away their metal or whatever. If they've already got it, they've got it. So you can see most of these guys have resources. We're not taking their actual piggy bank, let's say. They get to keep their piggy bank. We just take the space infrastructure mostly. I think it's probably time to start tracking down another servant counselor. So we can turn them and find where
Eyes on target.
the alien bases are.
Offering assistance.
We've arrived with Minerva. Okay. The hab's not going to be done for another 60 days, probably. You know, the dock's going to be 60 days when we started it.
I have new information.
Probably not the best person to be trying to turn if they've actually got loyalty of 24. Although that might be wrong. So we need to keep investigating.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
We have moved the needle.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
The people will come to our side.
Yeah, one of the other factions is trying to induce unrest in the EU. Yeah, there's the platform core. It's on 30 days for the space dock. Debris duty. Use the lasers on the station.
Reporting in. We'll turn down the heat.
At your service. Tracking target.
Okay. Looking at the time, I think it is time to put the next part break in for YouTube. We are slowly clearing up the system. We got people coming out to the Orc Cloud. I wouldn't imagine, wouldn't be surprised if we get it done with the next 2 parts if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, this is where I'm going to put the midstream tea break in, where I go replace the cup of tea that I've been drinking for the last hour and 2. 2 hours plus at this point. So I have a cup of tea in case I get a cough or whatever that I want to sip on. suppress the cough. So I will be back with the cup of tea after the short break. So until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.